crowd, they go up in volume because the St George Dragons come out. They're looking to make their second grand final in as many years. They went down to Brisbane last year. It all started back in around about late March, early April. We're getting close to the culmination of their quest in 1993. Potter is the fullback. Walford, Coyne, Bradley, Heron. Tony Smith, Noel Goldthorpe. Then Priddle, Collins, Stevens. Tallis comes in 43. Goulet and Mackay. Brian Smith is their coach. That young man, Gordon Tallis, in to take the place of David Barnhill. And now the Raiders, their fans have travelled probably 3 hours by road. Many have flown down to the stadium today. Mel Meninga takes them out. Laurie Daly we expect to play at half-back. Mel at 5'8", and Ricky Stewart watching from the stands. What a tragedy. Can they do it? Not just for themselves, but for Ricky. The big captain, wounded against Canterbury last weekend. I believe he's playing with strapped ribs. That would be telling nobody nothing, though. It's been one of the more documented stories of the week. There's their team: Belcher, Nandruku, Mullins, Boyle in the centres, Hoppy, Meninga, Daly, Osborne, Stevie Walters, Lomax, Clyde. How long will he last? Pongia, Croker, Tim Sheens as the coach. Laurie Daly, he holds very much the bulk of the fortunes for Canberra in his hands today. Coyne just short of the halfway mark. Jeff Hardy, match starting to settle down now. Tremendous opening.
I think we'll see St George try and hit the blind side as much as possible. And there's Mackay doing exactly that. Tallis has been positioned there. He's had a good start to this game, Gordon Tallis. And they like working this short side as Goldthorpe juggles the ball.
This is young Tallis now. Great run. A run of 25 metres takes them down to the 20-metre line. Long passing to Mackay. Equally long to Bradley. Short inside. Fortuitously it came down for Potter. He plays it 20 metres out from the Canberra line. This is the last. Bradley runs to the corner, puts in a kick, came off a Canberra player, that's offside. Here comes a chance. Points for St George. They're on offer now.
And the bounce of the ball going against Canberra here. But some good play by Saints. Big run by Tallis down the blind, set up the open side of the football field. They've used it on the 5th, and Bradley puts a little one in. Towed through by Goldthorpe, but it comes off Belcher, and offside is Pongia. Well, this is the run by Tallis, and look at him. He's come into a pressure game, first semi-final, and he's having a wow of a game early on in the match.
Well, Paul, I think that St George will target Brett Mullins in defence. He's had a fine start to this game, and he's had a good season, but I do think he is a player that can get caught out, and he was the man that was carried for 10 or 15 metres there. That's where Goulet and Priddle will head.
Yeah, sometimes in one-on-one situations, Mullins can let them down, can't he? Brian Smith chewing away there on the old gums.
On the gums or on the gum?
Combination of everything, I think.
The gumathon.
Gumathon. Ian Heron, 32 goals for the season. Kicked magnificently at ANZ the other night with all that pressure on him. 58,500 at Brisbane's home ground, so this shouldn't be a problem, and it's not. He dissects the big sticks. St George, they get the first points of the semi-final. They lead 2-0. Welcome back, St George, leading Canberra 2 points to nil. A penalty goal for Heron. Priddle offloads, Mark Coyne supports. You only missed the kick-off. And we're on our second play. This is the third now. Goldthorpe, 28 away from his own line. Collins, Goldthorpe, Stevens back on now. Hardy's gone back to the bench. Let's take our first comment in the actual run of play from Gene Miles.
Yes, Ray. Tim Sheets did indicate that around about the 20-minute mark there would be a couple of positional changes, but I can't see them really happening at this stage because it's been working so well for him. In the positional changes, I mean that Mal would revert back to the centre position and maybe Trevor Shadell come on in the half.
The scrum is going down 40 metres away from the Canberra line. Daly still at half. Meninga still at 5'8", but very wide. Belcher is standing up. Daly indicates to Harrigan that St George are offside at the scrum, and he tries to do it himself. Brad Mackay's scrum-based defence has been very good. Bradley Clyde, no sign of slackening off from Clyde yet.
Just talking about the work from Brad Mackay, it's not just his scrum-based defence, Ray, that's been outstanding. He's got 15 tackles up already. The closest is 9, Tony Smith, a good effort from the 5'8", but Mackay has just been absolutely outstanding, tackling anything that moves.
Osborne plays at 33 metres out. Long ball, Daly, on for Meninga. Now for Belcher. He puts it on the boot again, and Potter again has got some work to do. Comes off his own line. Boyle goes down to put the tackle on him. 7 out from the St George line, but the Dragons lead 2 points to 0. Ian Heron gets away from Boyle, but not away from the Kiwis. Lomax and Pongia make the tackle, and a penalty.
Pongia in the tackle. He's messed up. Penalty to St George. Too much over-enthusiasm in the tackle here. Pongia, a little elbow going down, a forearm. And then he goes on with it, pushing the back. And all that does is relieve the pressure for Saints. Canberra continue with their tactics of putting the ball behind the St George defensive line with the long grubber. I'm just wondering how long it's going to be before they decide to run the football and use the speed out wide they've got.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be the next time they have the football with a chance out wide with the backs. They've set up what they want to do. As Gourlay gets a great pass out of dummy half wide. That is a pet play from St George following a tap kick to hit back the other way with the long pass. We saw Gordon Tallis.
Oh, that's a great tackle by David Boyle. It was Boyle that got Gourlay, and then he got Priddle. So he put 2 very good tackles back to back. Played by Mackay. Goldthorpe goes for a scurry. That opens the play up. Collins is tackled 20 metres out from the Canberra line. The Raiders, they're now stretched a little bit. Goldthorpe puts the kick in. Belcher comes off his line. Nandruku. A grabbing kick by Goldthorpe. Belcher came away from the in-goal. Everything Gary Belcher's done today indicates there's no reason for retirement for the man they call Badge. He's played fine so far. I don't think any... Oh, Walters just coughed it up. Right in front of the uprights, 20 metres out.
Good work by Wayne Collins, the marker there. He's not letting Steve Walters get away with anything today.
The Canberra players reacting to that, saying it was knocked out deliberately by Wayne Collins. And he certainly did have a deliberate go at it, but that's okay.
And Jason Stevens off to the blood bin again. He's just gone back on. Harrigan looking at him very, very closely.
Two 2-0 in favour of St George. They stack the left of the ground. Bradley stands at 5'8" at all the scrums. He's put away on the 20-metre line. Stevens, well, he was blood-binned and then excused, allowed to carry on. 18 out from the line. Pressure for Canberra. Goldthorpe away. Priddle is tackled. Around the bootlaces by Croker. Mullins over the top. Goldthorpe at acting half for Mackay. Runs a bit of an angle, then tries to straighten through Lomax. 12 out from the line. Now with Goldthorpe, they've got players in abundance on the left. Potter goes that way. The bounce just pulls the play up a little bit. Stevens is able to stand and offload. Goldthorpe throws the dummy, looks for a channel through the centre. He's pulled down on the 5th, 10 metres out from the line, from Collins away, fed on by Smith. Goulet wide, drops it onto the right foot, race for the ball. In touch, in goal, 20-metre restart.
Well, he looked in trouble there, Sean Hoppy, almost off balance, which allowed Heron to get to the other side of him. Behind ball there, you see Hoppy trying to push his opposing player away, but fortunately the ball was already over the sideline. The kicking game from both teams has really put a lot of pressure on the defence.
Stevens again coming off to get some attention, and Jeff Hardy goes on as Paul Osborne bulldogs it out towards the 30-metre line. Off a short run, Lomax now takes it to a safer proximity. His Kiwi mate Pongia, he's like a drover's dog. Wherever Lomax is, Pongia is sure to follow. Now Croker, he goes in very hard in attack. Collins came off second best. He was the initial tackler. They're near the halfway mark as it goes to Daly. Meninga just waits a kick for his outside backs. Hoppy was going fast. Boyle dropped off. Nicely weighted kick by Mal Meninga. St George 2, Canberra nothing. 23 minutes gone in the first of our semi-finals. Sun starting to, or should I say the shadows lengthening, but the sun being soaked up on the far side of the ground. Steve Roach, a real semi-final this one.
Yeah, this is a great game early in the match. I just want to ask Sterlo a question. A couple of times St George have had the numbers down here on the blind side. Noel Goldthorpe doesn't look to pass the ball. But
Coyne gets into a space inside the 40-metre line. Walford, Nandruku won't get him. Walford, he gets the first try. Well, Nandruku, he had 2 on 1. He tried to take the first. He had to drop off him. Tried for the second, but Walford showed great speed. St George leading 6-0.
We talked about Brett Mullins' one-on-one defence. Here it is there, 2-on-2 there. But Coyne on Mullins, the inside step, beautiful. And away, he strides away. The Druku can't do much here. Situation, Walford's away. And Saints, they deserve this lead. They've really played some great football the last 15 minutes.
He's the most potent attacking weapon in this St George side for mine, Mark Coyne. He's got the speed, he's got a great step off both feet. Positioned Ricky Walford, who can still match it with the quickest in the game, improving the position. But it was just a great backline shot. One missed tackle at this end of the season is going to cost you 4 to 6 points. And it was Mark Coyne who beat Brett Mullins. All ends up. Haven't they come back strongly, the Dragons?
Yeah, Pete, great try to Saints. I'm just wondering about this Canberra tactic, Pete, of kicking the ball in behind the line. I think it's about time they started to run it.
Well, it's fine early on, isn't it? It puts pressure, but it also puts in the mind of the defence that they can't get up too quickly. So it serves a purpose early in a game, but I think that, you know, they're just not getting the results that they're desiring, and they're giving away the football.
Ian Heron. He's 18 metres out. 14 metres in from the broadcast or member stand side of the ground. He's really got it on a string. Couple of big breaths. Then he hits it. Here it comes, and again the flags are up for Ian Heron. Saints leading 8 points to 0 now. 25 minutes gone. Hardy plays it on the 20-metre line. Bradley. Boyle underneath, Meninga on the top. Potter coming into first receiver. Goldthorpe. Brad Mackay. These runs out of dummy half by Mackay. They're done with a lot of thought and they're done with plenty of purpose. He knows just when to do it. That's the point we're making. Gary Belcher on the sunny side of the ground.
He's a player that comes under some criticism, is Tony Smith, but he's a very solid player, especially in defence. One of the advantages he does give St George is that he has a left-foot kicker. So when he positions himself on the far side of the ruck, as St George come up with some strong defence again, he gets away a very good kick from that side. It's not as easy for a right-foot kicker, and that is a plus.
Clyde. Osborne. Meninga is jogging alongside Osborne, giving the impression that he's about to involve himself or thrust himself into the game more so. Daly, high this time. Daly's been taken out in back play. Looking for the touch judge, there's no sign of him. Maybe Daly took himself out. Twiddle promotes Walford. Walford goes to the halfway line. Good defence, Gary Belcher. Goldthorpe. Bradley. Mackay. Canberra just starting to drop off. Starting to present St George with opportunities. Goldthorpe is now in. He's got a lot of time on his hands, Goldthorpe. The more you watch the game, the more time he appears to have. Collins. Bradley. They work back to the left. Goldthorpe. Now Smith looks inside. Finds Goulet. He's put out of it 18 metres from the line. This is the last. Goldthorpe again. He's all over the park. Goes for the drop goal and gets it. Another point for St George. He's a drop kick freak, this kid. That's his 9th for the season, I think.
Yeah, it's good work by St George. They're really starting to open up Canberra now. This is a nice effort by Goldthorpe. He's got the angle, become a specialist in this area. And really, Canberra at this stage don't have an answer to St George. Saints are using the whole width of the field. Their support players outstanding. Everywhere someone looks, there is another red and white jumper there to back up.
It wasn't an easy kick either, that one. It was a fairly acute-ish angle. And I think he is the leading...
Is that a pretty angle?
Yeah, it is.
A cute one?
Well, the St George supporters think it is.
Michael Potter flew high to take that kick off. Gordon Tallis gets it out to the 20-metre line, and Potter is a dummy half to give a quick ball for Mackay, who knocks on embarrassingly. Brad Mackay having a superb game, and look at the head's gone down. He looks like a beaten favourite at the moment, but a blemish like that is nothing compared with what he's got on the positive side of his performance today.
And this is a chance that Canberra have been waiting for. Good field position and plenty of possession ahead of them.
Now a chance for the Greens. Belcher.
Penalty. Inside the 10 metres.
I think they've got to kick for goal here. They're trailing by 9. They've got to get points on the board. Or is it a differential penalty?
Yeah, it's a scrum penalty, Pete.
Well, they probably won't kick for goal then, Paul.
I don't think so, unless the rules changed.
Well, we worked that out very quickly. Now the tap by Walters. Osborne crashes it inside the 10-metre line. 9-0, Canberra wide, and they're very, very deep here, waiting for the play that they're working for. Firstly, they go for a blindside shot. Walters is tackled 2 metres from the line. Nandruku spears it for Daly. A little pass up for Clyde. Now they've drawn St George over to the right, and the back line is ready out wide. Walters, Daly, shaped to throw the big ball. Got away from one, drags Mackay along the ground, tries to give the players a quick play the ball. Does that. Croker now, Meninga this time, Belcher this time. Flicks it out the back for Meninga. Gets away from Bradley, turns it round the corner. Mullins puts the kick in, cleaned up by Goulet. Great rugby league passage.
Well, Scott Goulet's back out to the 20-metre line now. He's off. He doesn't think that he was tackled. The referee disagrees, unfortunately, for St George. We'll come back for a line dropout. Great attacking raid there by Canberra. A little kick there from Mullins. It was a good one because it was the last tackle and he was going over the sideline. And why shouldn't Goulet get up and run?
That's right, he never forced the football. Exactly. Premature call there by referee Harrigan.
Mackay with the dropout, and that indicates by the length of it the breeze is quite fresh behind St George in the first half. It's a 55-metre drop kick. St George changes Gene.
Yes, we see Phil Blake take the field for Tony Smith. I think Brian Smith has probably has sensed that the Canberra forwards are getting a little bit tired after that early rush.
Just back on Scott Goulet, fellas. There's a possibility that he's of the belief that Goulet forced the ball. Don't lose sight of that one. Daly now. It's with Meninga. The run around and a set play. Crashing tackle.
Graham Bradley, one of your best.
High kick by Daly. It's a great kick. Tremendous kick. But Wilford comes out of it with the ball.
Oh, freakish. It was there for anyone, and Walford's the man. He's jumped out of the ground to grab that one as Jeff Hardy runs out.
Well, I'd just like to have a look and see whether Brad Clyde was actually taken out of the play there by Mark Coyne.
I'm sure he was, Pete.
Yeah, I think
he
it
was
was a
shepherding.
penalty.
5 metres inside their 20-metre zone. Getting down towards half-time now. There's about 6 3/4 minutes to go. 9-0. Oh, was there a little shepherd there?
No.
Mackay got around behind Goulet.
Well, fortunately for Mackay, Brad Clyde was the man who would have been shepherded away from the tackle, but he came up with it. His man, Druku. Coming up with mistakes now, the Raiders. 6 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock.
And they're the things, aren't you? When you've got the ball, you put the kick in. You pray for things like this. And divine intervention there is Nandruku's knocked on.
Divine intervention. Are you sure of that? Are you talking to them now? You're an incredible creature. Bradley on the halfway. Collins makes 5 more metres. Mackay turns it in for Hardy. Head down, battering ram. Jeff Hardy. He's not one of their flash players, but my goodness, he's a workhorse. Bradley with strength. Potter, 22 metres out from the line. No markers, didn't take the option. Now it's with Goulet. This giant of a young man. He's pulled down 6 metres out. Saints with a great chance here. Goldthorpe shows it. Goldthorpe tries to go himself. Pulled down by Jason Croker. Last tackle for St George. They work the short side with Blake. Oh, read by Belcher.
He's come up with 2 big plays there, Gary Belcher. The important tackle on the far side after the break was made. Couldn't get to marker, but he knew that if he'd have come in and completed another tackle, he'd have been ruled offside as Meninga takes it 12 out. But Graham Bradley having a great game out there defensively and in attack. And one of the best parts of his game is the way that he straightens it up.
Osborne pulled down in a diving tackle by Tony Priddle.
I mean, that's a great tackle for a front row to chase for a marker. That was a great tackle. He missed Nandruku, but plenty of blokes have done that.
Nandruku! He's lost a shoe on the halfway line trying to free himself from the tackle.
Call in the farrier.
The end of the tackle count.
Well, he's kicked the boot, not the ball.
Coyne. He got around Croker. Coyne's very fast. So is Walford. So is Potter. Potter, he scores! Second try of the day for the Dragons. Michael Potter, in his farewell year, gets a try in the semi-final.
Well, I reckon it's nearly all over. Saints have finished this half sensationally. Mark Coyne, once again, those big right foot steps, put him into open spaces. There's plenty of Canberra defence. Look at them. There's a million of them. And he's beaten them all. Got around Croker, and away he goes. Walford beautifully positions himself, and then Mick Potter Brett Mullins came at very, very quickly, but Potter had enough nous to get there.
Well, he does this with speed as well, doesn't he, Mark Coyne? Getting outside the defence of Canberra. Great positional play from Walford, knowing that if he went back inside, he would be going back towards where other support players would be able to link up, and that was in the form of Michael Potter. Fairly close to the sticks here, and a 15-point lead with only just under 3 minutes to go is a very big one to go in with in a semi-final.
Very interesting piece of play that man Nandruku. You might recall he was tackled, he lost a shoe on the halfway mark, and it was handed back to him in the next play of the ball by Gordon Tallis. There goes the shoe. Tallis at marker becomes the man playing the ball, hands him back the shoe, and while Nandruku's putting that back on, St George swept the play to his wing. It's more than significant.
Oh, smart play, Gordon Tallis, you say?
No, but it did indicate that Nandruku, you didn't have to be a Rhodes Scholar to work out that he wasn't going to be at home. Nowhere to be found, Noah. 2 from 2 for Heron. He's kicking like Robin Hood. Great accuracy.
Was he a good kicker? Was he, Robin?
No, but he found plenty of bullseyes. Never mind about that. Down in Sherwood Forest. Up goes the flags. Heron gets another. Well, get Robin in. This bloke's better than him.
Yeah, this is great work by St George. Look, Canberra still had the numbers out there. I know Naduka mightn't have been there, but they still had plenty of players. And Ricky Walford, there's been no better player on the park today than Ricky Walford. And Saints, they're in form, they're on fire.
St George's try, the second for Michael Potter, came 3 minutes away from the half-time break, Steve Roach.
Well, it's Canberra's left-hand defence that is the problem. Every break that St George have made, it's been down their left-hand offensive side. I think Tim Sheens will have to address that problem at half-time.
What's he going to do, Steve?
Well, I think that he should change Meninga, put Meninga here on the left-hand defence, because that's where they keep heading. His defence is stronger than Mullins.
Peter Sterling named Mullins earlier in the commentary. He said that he thought St George would aim their attack at Brett Mullins. Brad Mackay. Here's Brett Mullins. He's had a stream of attack coming at him. Bradley looked like he might have lost his footing, or I thought for a moment he might have done a knee. He's okay. Collins grabs the ball down the ground. Heron comes in. Hoppy sweeps the pass. And there, that pass from Hoppy indicates that Canberra are prepared to take chances.
Well, that was a very piece of classy play there by Hoppy to pass that in the one movement.
This is Walters running unchecked, and then his pass way out in front of Hoppy. The scrum will barely have time to feed.
Well, Tim Sheen's got a mile of work to do at half-time to get these Raiders back on track. He'll be breaking out in carbuncles, Tim Sheens.
Siren will sound. There it is now. No time for the scrum. St George, they win a magnificent first half of this semi-final. 15 points to 0. 40 minutes to go. Tim Sheens has got 10 minutes to get it back into order for the Canberra Raiders. St George, they're coming home at the right end of the 1993 season. They're just really grinding into form, aren't they?
Well, they're playing great football, St George, and have done for a while now. But, you know, Canberra, they can't think of Ricky Stewart. That's a gone issue. What they've got to do now is talk at half-time about what's going to get them back into this game and what will get them back in early. They must put early points on the board if they're to go on and be competitive in this game.
Dragons filing out now for the second half. Michael Potter scored one of the tries. Ricky Walford got the other. And 15 points to 0. Mark Coyne has been absolutely brilliant for St George today. A couple of opportunities and he grabbed them by both hands and absolutely cut Canberra apart. Some worried faces on the Canberra players as they go back out. Didn't see any new faces among them. Although, yes, there is one in jumper number 44.
That's Steve Stone in 44, who, if you remember, that first game against St George was thrown into halfback to replace, at that time, an injured Ricky Stewart. So he hasn't even come off the interchange bench. He was basically named as a reserve. It's going to be interesting to see where they're going to slot Stone into this lineup.
Well, if memory serves me correctly, in that first match at Bruce Stadium, this man Stone played a very important role. So yes, you're right, this is Hoppy.
Yeah, Canberra's got it all ahead of them. As Pongia takes the ball up to the 20-metre line. Half-time, imagine Brian Smith would have been very, very happy with his charges. They did everything right, absorbed the pressure early in the first half. And imagine Tim Sheens has got to come up with something now to get this Canberra side back on check.
Paul Osborne. Very hurried kick. It bounces over the sideline. It had a reasonable ending to it. Could be an interesting ruling here, though, for Bill Harrigan.
Well, it was touched here as Laurie Daly gets the kick away. Let's have a look at Priddle. I'm sure that was touched, but it's a St George feed. So nothing going the Raiders' way. So in the scrum, St George, and Bradley takes it from 5'8". Steve, the coaches, what did they have to say at half-time?
Yeah, well, I was in the St George room. Obviously, Brian Smith very happy. He wants his turn to keep running from dummy half. He thinks there's good value there. The Canberra side looks very tired. Keep attacking Mullins and Nandruka. Don't relax. Play the second 40 minutes as you did. He was very happy with their ball security and very, very happy with only one penalty. Gene Miles was in the Canberra room.
Yeah, there's been a change. Steve Stone's gone to halfback, and Laurie Dale and Mel Meninga revert back to their original positions as 5'8" and centre. And Tim Sheens wants to see them to use the ball, and they have got it now.
All right, so it's St George on the attack early in the second half. Jeff Hardy. Ball goes down. Steve Walters comes up with it for Canberra.
Yeah, pressure pass there from Hardy. Didn't have to be thrown. They were in good field position. Saints, they'll be disappointed with their ball security on that occasion. I think David Boyle's a man who has been replaced in the Canberra side by Steve Stone.
Fatty, I'm really surprised that Tim Sheens has opted for Stone. He's a former back rower. Like, they're trailing by 15. Trevor Shadell is the second leading try scorer in the club. I'd have thought that he'd have been the man they'd have brought on to try and spark something.
Well, Tim Sheens, he's the coach and lives and dies by his own. As Daly's plucked it, and he's made a bad blue. And Saints come into possession, but Steve Stone, the weight's on his shoulders now, and he's not a Trevor Shadell, he's not a try scorer, he's definitely not a Ricky Stewart, but he's there to do a job.
Play by Walford. Goldthorpe uses the players on his left, and it's Priddle to the halfway mark. Goulet. Right around the legs, John Lomax. Jeff Hardy. Goldthorpe's kick taken by Gary Belcher. He brings it back now. Graham Bradley has left the field. I thought he might have got a player over the top that got him around the kidney area. Steve, did you see that?
Yeah, it wasn't around the kidney area. He's concussed. He did cop a little bit of blood coming out of the nose. But Rex Turp, the very good attacking player from St George's centre, has taken his place.
Great movement of the ball along the back line by the Raiders. But Nandruku, he's a target that St George have been waiting for and sweating on today.
And that was the Canberra that we all know. I mean, they've spread the ball. They've made 30 metres. They've got to have more of that in their second half to win the match.
Daly. Belcher into the back line. Pops it over the back for Mullins. Mullins taken by Hardy and Tallis. 5 tackles gone. They're 40 metres out. Stone. Belcher's kick. That's not a knock-on. Phil Blake is very fast. Stone is chasing. Will he get him? No, Blake's over. Blake gets the try.
Well, the fortunes of rugby league, it's all over now for Canberra, I reckon, today. They're just mounting a fight back, but 19-0, surely they can't come back from there. Saints won't let them. And this is Gary Belcher trying to put a grubber in for Hoppy. Comes off Blake's legs. Now, Blake hasn't been on the field that long, but he's got enough pace to get away from those two Canberra players. Stone comes at him, but look, Phil Blake's been playing semi-final football since 1982. He first came into grade at Manly. He made sure of that.
You just got the feeling early in this game, whenever there was a ball that was bouncing, it tended to favour St George. You have those days. Like, I'm not saying they've been lucky, but those really break your back, the opposition. The kick wasn't a good one from Belcher. No hands from Phil Blake. He scooped it up. I thought Steve Stone did a pretty good job. He showed some pace there to have a valiant lunge at the end.
Did he ever? Well, Ricky's gone for a...
He's gone for the Nelly Bly.
He's gone for the Nelly.
He's not missing it either.
He's giving it plenty.
Heron has got this shot from 2 metres in from touch. 21 metres out. He's been magical with his kicking. 19-0. St George in front. I recall in one match this year, Canterbury led North Sydney, though, 17-0 at half-time, I think it was. 16-0, they got run over by a point. Heron bringing it around, but too much this time. Well, at least he's proved that he's human. 19-0 in favour of the Dragons. They went there this way. Phil Blake, 11 years in semi-final football. Goulet. Great pass. That's Rex Turp. Inside ball. Heron. He's got 15 to go. Reaches the 10-metre line. Quick play the ball and St George will score on the right. Collins. Long pass. Goldthorpe. Short pass. Blake. He scores. Gets his second try. The Dragons are stampeding.
Rapture a wizard. Quick play the ball. They'll score on the right. For once, you didn't Jonah or something. And Saints going away with this game now. Sensational play. Here's the early break. Beautiful ball by Goulet onto Turp. Inside to Heron. Heron puts a dipsy-doodah. A few head wobbles. Away he goes. And finally tackled. The ball had to go right, of course.
And it's the quality of the pass from Noel Goldthorpe. Just have a look at this. As we freeze the play there, you'll see that the outside man for Canberra in Mal Meninga is being caught out as Blake comes into that hole. Great pass there. But it was set up by the previous play. And you'll see perfectly from this angle how Goldthorpe holds it up.
Yeah, quality play there by Goldthorpe, wasn't it? Beautiful piece of play. And Phil Blake, he comes into his own this time of year, let me tell you. Sensational play. He's a game breaker. He's come on, he's scored 2 tries. Someone tell him it's 93 and not 82.
He could have done with a few more in 82.
Goodly what?
Memories. Sterlo loves them, doesn't he? They were good days, Sterlo. 18 metres out. Just off centre for Heron. 4th try of the day for the Dragons. They are rejoicing. Ian Heron, straight as a dart. 25-0 in favour of the Dragons. Tallis. 22 metres out from the line, 25-0 the score. Saints. Goldthorpe in for Goulet. This is the last. Potter uses the short side. Priddle supports. Puts the kick in. Nandruku! It's not Nandruku, it's Nagus. Nagus goes over the halfway. He's got out of a couple of tackles, but Phil Blake pulls him down like a grappling hook. Furner, they stretch it. What a pass! 25 metres from Furner. Walter's back. Hoppy's with it. 30 metres out from the line.
He came back the wrong way there, Steve Wallace, but it showed how quickly St George did get back as Laurie Daly keeps the ball going. There's a chance here. That's Meninga. He'll score in the corner.
The big fella gets it down. Canberra gets on the board. 25-4. 20 minutes of action remaining.
Yeah, nice play by Canberra. Nagus was the man. There it is there. On the fly, he took the football and away he went. And Phil Blake, it took a great tackle by Phil Blake, just kept coming. And then from here, they were caught out wide, always short of numbers, St George. So nice passing here by Osborne on the Mal into a big gap. And the big fella storms away.
And on that occasion, it was Mark Coyne who was caught out in defence. You'll see him out wide. Walford deciding to stay with his man, and that was Coyne on the inside. Just too many numbers there, and Meninga gets his side on the board. 25 points to 4. There's still a long way to go. They do have just under 20 minutes.
Well, David Furness' pass. It had Ricky Stewart written all over it. Here's his kick. Oh, that's a great kick. That's an enormous booster for Canberra. They're a mile behind, but they're clawing back. 25-6. St George after just over an hour. Kick-off in flight. Fritz comes back for Canberra. A little bit more of a spring in the step of the Raiders now. A forlorn hope, I know, but there was just that glimmer of hope in what they did to put Meninga in for the try. Osborne struggling out to the 30-metre line. Tell you what, if they could get another try quickly, we could still see some magnificent last minutes in the semi-final.
Well, you know that they're going to give it their all, and even if they can't get up and win this game, Ray, I think that the next 18 minutes is very important for what they can come up with next week. Now, they must walk off this field this afternoon with some semblance of form late in the game. The head's not too far down because it's very tough to get up after 2 big losses. They had one last week.
Well, I think they're learning something, Peter, by throwing the football around. They can see they still can score tries by doing that. Gene Miles on the sideline.
Yeah, you'll see St George now really close the game up. You'll see the dummy half runners, and probably Noel Goldthorpe will start kicking to the sideline now, allowing his forwards time to recover while walking to the scrum.
Jordan Tallis. Collins again goes for that grubbing kick out of dummy half, and again, magnificent kick. Gaining about 35 metres. He was working in close quarters, and this was his pinpoint accuracy. Sean Hoppy. Pongia. Fritz. Furner. Osborne. Osborne tries to do it himself off the hand of Daly into those of Priddle. Walford. Coyne, chance for St George. Jason Croker, he was the fly on the ointment. Ricky Walford would have been in for his second try. Goldthorpe holds it back for Potter. Talking of tries, he got one earlier today, Michael Potter. Jeff Hardy acts as the pivot. Ferner around the legs there. Down on the 20-metre line now, St George. Goulet was looming on the blind side. Turp is tackled. Collins just stabbing it into the corner. And Hoppy is taken in a touch.
Fairly bizarre incident here. Heron thinks that he scored the try. Lovely kick from Collins. It forces Hoppy to catch the football. He doesn't want to go into touch, so he tries to keep the ball in play. No try, sorry.
St George, though, they got the feed. Mackay is tackled 10 metres out from the line. 25-6 as Potter throws a dummy. Centre of the ground, close to the uprights. Tallis. Collins, Mackay, Brett Mackay gets it over. Nobody deserves a try more than he does.
He's had a big game, Brad Mackay. Very simple little move around the dummy half area. Wayne Collins also had a big game in that particular area. Back in top form now, Wayne Collins. Look at this, the dummy, then back the other way. And there's Steve Stone had him covered, but Mackay, pure determination, got him over the line.
Very simple play, but very clever play because it split the markers. You can actually see that a couple of the Canberra players had no idea where the football was going. David Ferner flies through in 42. He's caught out. He catches Collins. He's already passed the football. Mackay had a little bit of work to do, but he was close enough that...
Well, he should have been helped, Peter, really.
Well, yeah, but it's smart play around there, isn't it? If you can put something on against the markers from that distance, if anybody reads it wrong, as Canberra did, you're going to score.
Well, they'd be ecstatic, St George. This is real premiership winning material here today, the way they've played this game. Forwards have done their job. Brian Smith, a few changes happening down there on the sideline. Wayne Collins just left the field. Nathan Brown has gone on.
Well, tell you what, the performance of Wayne Collins has been quite outstanding today. I know Nathan Brown's gone on, but Wayne Collins, he's done some very clever things, and so has Noel Goldthorpe. He's also been given an early shower by coach Brian Smith. Ian Heron, this time he's online again. All that does is enlarge the confidence of that group. And of course it takes that scoreline to 31-6 in favour of the Dragons. Brian Smith goes back to the coach's seat. Back for something that Canberra have done a lot of today. Kicking off practice. Something you hate doing. Canberra are hoping that it's not habit forming for what might happen next weekend. That's Turp in 17. Tomorrow, of course, we've got a magnificent day coming up for you. Penalty goes to Saints. We've got, of course, Manly versus Brisbane. The touch judges come in to make a report. But don't forget, we'll have the final of the Commonwealth Bank tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Of live coverage of the Commonwealth Bank Cup between St Gregory's and Wavell. That's a state of origin match in itself. And Mark Warren will bring you the commentary from 1 o'clock tomorrow. We'll also have the announcement of the winner and the runners-up, two runners-up in the Dally M Awards. We'll have them live for you at half-time in the final between St Gregory's and Wavell High. It's between 1 and around 2:30 tomorrow. And then the replay right around Australia of the big one, Manly Brisbane. I say the big one because it's the sudden deather. Manly Brisbane, the minor preliminary semi-final. Good night for one of them. Will it be the Premiers? Or will it be the Eagles? Penalty again to St George.
Well, Canberra have lost the plot a bit here. They're niggling tactics now in the dying stages of the match. They've copped an absolute Harry hiding. But here we are in the tackle. Pongia face, and then Osborne comes in, hands in the face. It's not on.
Where's that penalty count now, Pete?
8-1.
8-1 is a massive, isn't it? I wonder if Tim Sheens will blow a bit. But the penalties have all been deserved, let me tell you.
What did that achieve? The rub in the face there.
Stevens. Short pass away for Brad Mackay. About 10 minutes of the game remaining as Blake goes in and unloads for Gordon Tallis, a young colt that...
well, he's had a great game.
He hasn't. He loves to work.
Well, he's made a mistake here. He's tried to play the ball forward. There were markers around. He's made a simple error of judgment.
It's only just an error of judgment because when he gets up, there isn't a marker there. As you can see, I thought he nearly had every right to play on there. He was very late coming.
But it's once again, Pete, it's in that area where you really shouldn't take a chance, should you? I suppose at 31-6 you can.
Exactly.
So he'll learn by that, but he's had a great game. I mean, David Barnhill's a fine player, but they've lost nothing in there with Tallis today.
And that, of course, is something that we probably haven't even considered looking at the scoreboard, that they've done it without one of their finest forwards, David Barnhill. But I find it hard to think St George are going to get any stronger. This has been a real quality performance. Was that tackle high from Tony Smith? Yes, it was.
It looked like a great tackle to me. I know that that's dangerous to say before we've seen the replay. But he was flying Nagas on the inside. Well, it's fairly high. In this day and age, it is a penalty, but you've got to come up with those ball and all tackles when they're required, and it was required on that occasion.
Osborne. 12 metres away from the Dragons' line. Fritsch now. Stone. Mullins. Daly. Meningo angling back towards the centre. Stone. Now Pongi up. Pongi up. Throws the pass in desperation. David Furner goes for the corner. David Furner gets the try. Well, that was a very, very smart piece of work by Quentin Pongia. I didn't know he had it in him, but you'll see it again on replay. 31-10 St George.
Canberra mini fight back late in the game. I said they're proving to themselves that they continue to throw the football around, which is the sort of style we've seen them play all year. Ponga gets into the open. Nice tackle by Smith from behind, but the speculator over the top. And from there, Furner, nice hands for him on the fly. Too much speed for Riddle.
Good little in the way there to round the try off. Pretty tough conversion for Furner, and he's missed it. A couple of bad missed tackles there, and Pongia went through, setting up Furner. Got the bounce. And a late fight back, but it's going to be to no avail.
And Peter, you think what good has Canberra got out of this game today? Anything? I think the form of Furner in the second half has been good.
Well, he must press for selection. I don't think a great deal at all. They've come up with a resounding loss. I think they've probably learnt more about what not to do next week than what they will continue on with. They've really been just thoroughly outplayed, as Brad Mackay's copped a nasty knock there. A bit of blood up around the face. He'll be off very, very quickly.
Well, Brad Mackay, he wasn't faking injury out there. This is what happened.
Oh, it's a big swinging arm from Noel Meninga. We might hear more about that.
He hasn't missed. He's in plenty of trouble out there.
And there's a pretty dusty one from Laurie Daly too. He's getting him and Tallis have had a running, as Ray Warren pointed out, a battle for the last 5 minutes. Laurie's come in with a fairly cheap shot on the blind side, and the players have reacted.
So referee Harrigan goes in to try and quell this little bit of a disturbance that has been running or raging for the last 3 or 4 minutes. The siren, meantime, has sounded. It's taken none of the lustre away from the victory by St George, but that is not a good sight. Brad Mackay coming off. I'm wondering and I'm worrying that it's not a jaw problem.
He looks in plenty of trouble, doesn't he? He's not willing to move the jaw or anything.
And see the negative wave of the trainer's head. He was as if to say, this is not good. 31 points to 10. One of the St George stars injured in the final seconds. Let's hope he's okay. 5 tries to 2. They don't come any more comprehensive than this.